Thank you so much for coming out on this beautiful Juneau fall day. My name is Ronalda Queriente Brown, and I am the director of the PETAS program out at the University of Alaska Southeast. I'd like to also recognize Joe Nelson, Vice Chancellor, here in the audience as well. But we have a pretty amazing relationship with Sealaska Heritage Institute, and that includes a speaker series among other magic that we do within our partnership that includes a media campaign and promoting our mission of identifying and supporting by way of scholarship Alaska Native educators. And we initially began as a program focusing on Southeast Alaska, and in 2011 we expanded to all corners of Alaska, and very proud that we've helped feed the pipeline of Indigenous teachers in Alaska schools. Currently we have only 5% of our teaching population are Alaska Native. Today I'm very pleased with the partnership of being able to host Dr. Teresa John. Teresa is an expert on being. What do you think about that? All of our Indigenous languages talk about how it is to be, meaning the tribe, the Native Indigenous group that you belong to. Generally, the name is the being, and Dr. John carries that in all that she does. We first met perhaps 25 years ago. She was a performing artist and came to Juneau along with Tuna McIntyre, if I recall correctly, and shared some of their rich, beautiful heritage here in Juneau through the Juneau Indian Studies program. But that expert in being, I say that because she emulates so much about what's important with our Indigenous cultures, giving back to community, building, teaching others. The list goes on, and she does so with heart, and that's where I begin my introduction with her. Dr. John gives back to the community by some of the very active participation that she does in the arts, in education, not only in the state of Alaska, but across our country. And her richness has been shared throughout the world. She is on the teaching faculty and graduate studies with the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and we're just very pleased knowing how busy all of our faculty are this time of year that she made time to come down. So with that, I welcome you to Southeast Alaska, and we're thrilled that you're here to share. So
thank you for that introduction. First, I would like everybody to stand, please. I am going to start off with a purification song from my village. It's called Tarvarnawamkan. And the reason why we sing that song is because we were granted by the Creator a method to heal, to purify the space, the air, and the house that we live in, the air that we breathe, and also to purify the pathway for our hunters, as well as for the women that gather food from the land. So I won't sing the whole song, but I will sing just the chorus part. It's called Tarvarnawamkan. Tarvarnawamkan ay hiurang ay hiyak. Tarvarnawamkan ay hiurang ay hiyak. Hiurang bikani kanek aklangak. Yahai hiurangak nula hai. Tarvarnawamkan ay hiurang ay hiyak. Hiurang bikani kanek aklangak. Yahai hiurangak Nulahai. You may sit down, Koyana. And in our custom, today the title of my presentation is based on my thesis. It's called Yuraryaraput Kangiit-llu, Our Ways of Dancing and Their Meanings. And I was born and raised at the time before the schools even came to our village. And so I only spoke Yupik. All the children only spoke Yupik. It was not until 1960s, mid-1960s, when the first outside Western system found our village and built a school there, the BIE school. And so I come from a very, very strong traditional culture and history. Our construction of knowledge system is based on oral tradition. Gulirat are the stories that came and cover the time period when the crust of the earth was thin. The time period they talk about how the mountains were created, how the land was created, and how people were very giant and strong, and they can transform into other animals. Animals can transform to human. And so we come with this knowledge base and belief system that we were all equally created by the Creator as human and non-human beings. And in our tradition of ceremonials and rituals, all those oral traditions are implemented through a body form, through a song form. They tell us history. They tell us about the past. They tell us about how these spiritual people we call Angalkut were able to travel through space, to outer space. And they tell stories about the little people we live with. We share this earth with them. We've seen them. They give us signs and symbols. And we have multiple different forms of little people. I think in Western term, what might you guys call them? Leprechauns. And then aliens and whatever. But to us, they are part of humanity. They are part of our real world. We respect them. We have land base for them. We have identified land base with them. And my grandfather and my grandmothers were given songs and dances by the little people. They dress like this, they come out in human form. They walk to hundreds of miles away in the mountains. We call our mountains that are much smaller than this our mountains, because out in our island, it's just thousands of miles of flat land, not even one tree. So these Ichinhat, they provide wisdom. They give us songs. They give us history. They give us colors. They give us meaning. They give us messages. And the way that we are taught is to show the ultimate respect to them, just as well we want to be respected by our neighbors, right? So they're seen in different forms: human form, halfway form, this high, and then even little ones. And we have different terms for them. And so when my grandfather went to get some ochre, we have this place on our island called Qazgingok, the pretend Qazgik. Qazgik was a communal place, where all the men slept, where the rituals and ceremonies happened, where they constructed their kayaks, and where they instructed the boys about climate change and weather prediction and science and engineering. And they also took steam bath in there. So Qazgingok is located on Nelson Island to the left of Tuksuk Bay, right? And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So what does that mean? It's growing, right? Say yeah. We believe that they're multiplying. And even last summer, we saw a giant beam of light from there. There's no reed. There's no way. Somebody could have been there at midnight with a giant beam of light, and I witnessed it this summer. Me and my family of 10, we were looking and going, wow, look at that giant light beam. Out of nowhere, it disappeared and it reappeared again. We were talking, it couldn't be a snow machine. It's like 30 miles away. A snow machine could not beam out, a light this bright, giant. So it's real. So my grandfather was granted many, many songs by the little people. And so in our tradition, we believe that our ancestors reside inside Jauyak, inside the drum. When we hit the drum, when there's 2 or more people, they say, all the spirits of our ancestors exit and join us. So they are in here. All my ancestors are in this room with us. And in our concept, the symbol of drum means love, because the symbol of drumming is bringing so much power, so much enlightenment, history, love, peace, harmony. Long time ago, our people lived in war. We have lots of war stories. And one day, these elderly people who never had any children adopted this boy. And he had a dream, he had a vision that he has to make drums, that he has to bring peace to the world. So this young boy traveled, as instructed in the dream, all over our geographic area, making multiple drums, the big ones and the small ones. And in each village site, he brought the message that it is time to quit warring. War brings depression. War is not good for humanity. And because of that, the drum created peace and harmony among the people. And I must say that because of that era, we have lots and lots of war dances, we have lots and lots of war stories. You could sit there for days and days and days and learn about history about Apahanukpak, the greatest warrior that had a journey. He's our hero. Where we have stories of the arrow coming in and going out. This is what these tales mean. When Apanukpak during war was hit by an arrow, but he did not die. He saved the people. So messenger festival dances are all about war. The history of war, very, very like comprehensive, complex. And in the messenger festival, there's tons and tons of steps. The first one is Jurukak. It means that when the 2 enemies are attacking each other, Jurukak. There's a song and dance for that. And Tkikatak. They're slowly approaching you. There's a song for that. There's a song for that. When they arrive, you try to disrupt their eating. That's what it means. And then after that, I'm standing in front of you. I'm dancing in front of you. Today, we only sing Jiuqitat songs. And then there is also Yurapat, the real dances. Those are the true stories about our history. And they belong to each family tree, family line. In my family, I have 4 or 5 dances I danced at the Messenger Festival song. And I still remember them. One is about marine mammal hunting. One is about mouse food hunting. One is about making a gudak. And one is about blowing seal intestine. Seal intestine is very, very important in our culture. We make waterproof raincoats, and then they also use it to make the window shells in the Kangiit-llu. Very, very important. So all our dances are historical accounts of our people. And no other families can dance those. And so we always had representative of three people, the mother, the father, and the child, in messenger festival dances. And if the two genders are different, for example, if the men group from one village are challenging the women's group from one village, during the messenger festival, none of the people from that household or that group talk to each other about what they're composing. So you go to bed with your husband and wife and you ask them, hey, what did you guys talk about today? It's not supposed to be shared. So as a little girl, I was going back and forth between men's house and women's house. Because I was a dancer for all my grandfathers and grandmothers, the great composers. So I was running to that house, and then a child comes in. Your other grandfather wants you over in the other house. So I would run to the other house. But my role and responsibility is that I could not tell nobody what I was being trained until the night of the ceremony. Messenger festival. And of course my grandmother would go, what did your grandfather teach you tonight? I'm not supposed to tell you. Please, you can tell me. And I feel so horrible, because, I'm not supposed to disrespect her, but the protocols are there. I, as a little girl, knew what the protocols were. And it was that strict. And the only time that they revealed those stories, that they revealed those historical accounts, was the night of the opening. Sometimes the ceremonies went up to 3 days, sometimes longer. It depends on the participant. So if I play the role of a male role, a father or a son, and it's my turn to dance, I have to dress accordingly. My father always wore headdresses and kaspaks when he danced, as well as my brother, because they represented the female part in that role of three, the father, son, and a child. And my mother always played the male part. She could not, you don't change that all your life. You become. When we perform, we become that character. We become that animal. We become that, we imitate, we imagine. We become creative. So the stories that we tell, I'm really cold, I'm really hot, and I'm happy, and I'm lonely. We have gestures for everything. We have gestures for the space that we live, way up there, where I cannot see it, or up there where I can see it. Down right here on this space where I am. Way, way, way far over there, or way back there. I cannot see. Back here, I cannot see. Down there, I can see. Down there, moving. Up there, moving. What doesn't move up above us? That's there all the time, every day. Test one. No. Up there. When we go up there, what's up there? Huh? The sun? Okay. So the sun is up there. And then sometimes what moves up there? Clouds move. Good. And down there, down below us, something that does not move is expressed this way, like a river down there. The river's flowing down there. And then this is for memory, my memory. I'm singing and I'm dancing. And I'm happy. Sometimes I am depressed. Sometimes so we have movement. We use our arms to tell us what's going on. And sometimes we imitate Jawa, and then. Yeah? So we imitate all that. And then you become. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of our history. That's what dancing is all about. You're telling stories. You're singing. Through singing, you're praying. You're praying for the animals to come here so you can eat them. And after you eat them, you're full, right? And then you wipe your hand, and then you're happy, and then you smile. So we have movement for everything. Oral tradition, and it's so rich. So we observe, we think, we conceptualize everything. That is why when they sing, you listen to the words very, very closely, especially to the verses. First verse of the song. In Yupik, we have chorus, first verse, second verse, almost like Gasak, right? And so for the Messenger Festival, we used to have 3 verses because we had to request from a father and a son and a daughter. 3 verses, but today only 2 verses. We've lost many, many, many different forms of dancing. And so I will sing you a song my dad composed. It's called Anukunguk Kayungukik Doaslu. He was a commercial fisherman. And we were fishing down in Bristol Bay when the north wind storm blew. And the north wind storm caused our boat to be, rough, and therefore freezing and cold. So that's the first part of the verse. The second verse is much more happier, enlightening. It's about being happy inside the tender, where you deliver and you get cash, right? And you're happy. So this song is called Anukunguk Kayungukik Doaslu. My father was the chief of AVCP. He left us about a year ago, and he was in that role for over half a century. And his life was prophesied, dreamt by 2 people, one from our coastal area and then one from Kuskokwim. And he told that they slept for 3 days, 2 nights, and they dreamt about how my dad was going to live. And my dad was going to be a leader of all the Yupik people. In the dream, the Creator said. And the same story was witnessed by those 2 people who don't know each other, right? And so in the dream, the voice or the Creator said, one day you will meet each other and you'll know who the other is. And so when the time was right, the trainer came from another village, said, it's time to train you. I said, train me to be what? I'm worthless. I don't have any skills. I don't have anything. Train you to be a leader. To be a leader, not for me. You have no choice. So that's how things happened in the past. So he led our people. He was present here at the capital before and at United Nations and Greenland, ICC. So he played that role that was prescribed in that dream. And those 2 people one day met on the Yukon River. As soon as they saw face to face, you were the other one in the dream. Fact. And that's how things were demonstrated. So his song goes, Anukunguk. Ano kenguk kayong ukiuk to asuk. Ano kenguk kayong ukiuk to asuk. Taif kakak ungalam magyakan. Ay ay hiya away ay hiya ya ha I. And then here's the first verse. Where am I sitting in a place where the wind is blowing? I talk too much, I don't have to have water. So first verse. Nani milli anu kengutang ilgayam paingani yani hayai hiya hawai hiya ya and then the second verse, where am I sitting in a place where it is warm inside a tender? Nani milli nuna nigyu chengach badam kach alulag vaniya ay hiya away hiya ya I. So that's the gist of this song. And so many of our ancestors, they sing stories of the old. Also, they sing stories about the contemporary. Now we have children's songs, children going to school songs, children's playing outside. And so, we change with time. We transform our music with time. And I have a cousin, some of you might know, I Sing You Dance. He has a website, Facebook. He's my cousin. He's my teasing cousin. I have a right to tease him. And his grandfather and my maternal grandmother were siblings. And I have a right to tease him in public. So I did that at AFN. At this moment, I'd like to stop and see if there's any comments or questions for me that will give me a chance to drink a little bit of water. Have I lost you all? No? Yeah?
Oh. How are you teaching these traditional stories and movements and in the younger generation?
Very good question. We encourage a lot of our youth in our region. All the children still speak Yurtu now, thankfully, in our village. And it's very strong because our elders really emphasize that to us. When you have children, I want to be able to talk to them. Let them speak the language so I can teach them. So thankfully, my generation who are grandmas now and our children's generation who are, mothers now, parents now, are passing on that tradition. And when we see that the students want to learn something in school, a lot of our elders go volunteer there, or some are paid. And the student groups are embraced in the community activities. So they invite them in all the time. The young kids are going to sing now. So that is how you inspire them, you support them. When there's other communal activities, you encourage that participatory, proactively among every event. At the fiddling or at native dancing or at some kind of gathering, so that voice is still there constantly, people talk about it, people think about it. And when we see younger generation that are interested, we include them in. You announce on the radio, you text them and you call them, go, go, go. I don't see you here, where are you? You know. And in my classes, I implement songs and dances as part of like opening sometimes and ending, just to keep that continuum going. And you know, living in the city, it's kind of difficult to have a face-to-face contact with leaders among our region, right? So guess what? Cell phones become very, very useful. You participate in organizing, you participate in planning, you participate in thinking of a theme for upcoming events. So even though you're not there present in person, you can do that from anywhere, you know, thanks to technology. Yeah.
Did you use masks in your songs and dances?
Long time ago. I used to watch my grandfather use masks. My great-grandfather was one of the most powerful people. He was granted power to empower masks and to travel to outer space. My mother's grandfather. And his role was to consign, to ask the spirit world to bring food to our table. So those who were granted from birth. And those, we call them Jasutlut, the ones with tools, the ones that are empowered. Jasutlut, they know the policies and they know the procedures of how to do their job already, because they're trained over and over again by our experts in the Kangiit. They forewarn people when they start seeing little people or hearing voices. That's the beginning of training. They know the messages. And you're not supposed to say anything about them, because that means you will funnel that gift and you will let it go. So, silent, silent. Another.
You stated that your intervention by the outside wasn't until the 1963s. So what religious faith came into your area that you were able to keep your language and your culture?
Yeah, Catholicism. Nelson Island, the whole Nelson Island, the Catholics came. And I could not speak to my teachers up until maybe 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. I couldn't speak English. I don't know how they graduated us to next grade because I don't recall being able to write. But then once I reached a certain level, the level of my fluency, because I'm very fluent in Yuhtun, in English, you know, escalated very quickly once I understood the structure and what was demanded.
Your garb and your headdress, they obviously add so much to the storytelling and the dancing. In your community, do you have strategies for teaching the youth how to?
Yeah, in fact, the schools have really good leaders in cultural program. They have a cultural program at the school where they buy the materials for the kids to work on, and then they bring in the expert to the classroom. And they tell stories, they make their headdresses, they make their qasbaqs, and they make their maklaks. And at the same time, they're telling them stories. That's how things happen. While you're sewing, you're learning about war stories or little kid stories with, you know, songs in them, whatever they need to. And our historians, they are very avid in knowing the strategies of teaching. This level of knowledge, you know, you teach them this body of knowledge. This level, you know, middle school, elementary school, young parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. We believe in lifelong learning. Lifelong learning means we learn until we die. That means that people have a right to instruct you until you die. So don't say, I'm an adult. Yeah.
Your whole life.
Uh-huh.
I'm from Southwest Alaska too, and when she's saying lifelong learning, Teresa was my teacher in high school too. But on ways that we keep the culture is every single village also has a festival that we all gather at. For Chief at my village is Tundrafest. In Tuksuk they've got the blackberry.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of our region. Everybody knows who's who, and they work collaboratively. So every region has a dance ceremony. So the leaders get on the phone. What month are you guys having your thing? So we can plan accordingly. So every weekend is this village, this village, this village, this village. So it's like ceremonies are like gigantic events. Because you're composing new dances, you're making new regalia, and you're collaborating and coordinating together. Just like celebration here, but it's celebration every weekend. Yeah, it is literally every weekend. The whole spring, starting in fall to spring. Because depending on how many village dance groups there are, there's only 4 weekends in a month. That means only 4 villages in a month. And you're talking about hundreds of villages, right? So that's how they organize. They collaborate together. And they don't want to, conflict with another village. So Yukoners talk to the Kuskokwim coastal people, talk to the Kuskokwim inlet people. And they don't plan or try not to plan events around like Jamai Dance Festival or Festival of Native Arts. It gets to be a complex, but they do it. Yeah. Once in a while, because there are so many more villages that are reviving dancing, then they have conflict. And they said, oh, well, there's just no way to get around this. And the planning is time-consuming. It costs a lot to put together something, right? If you're a grandmother, grandfather, presenting the child for their first dance, you got to think about who's going to make all the regalia for not just one person, but for the whole family. You got to think about, well, when do we have to start buying stuff, materials? Who can afford to buy the materials? And we got to start buying our tickets. Like I bought my tickets already for spring season, some of them, not all of them. So ID, okay, my brother's having the grandchild in Yukon River. We've never done that before. Dance, and I go, Yukon River? Yeah, because the other grandparents live there, so that's going to be a challenge, bringing my whole family to the Yukon. So that's how we plan. So people that have jobs, they get order list, go to Sam's Club, go to Costco, buy 10 boxes of pilot bread, 100 yards of fabric, 10 shovels, etc., etc. And one family can fill a space from this whole space with just one person. Can you imagine going shopping to fill this whole space, up, down? Hunting tools, household needs, nets, television, freezers. Can you imagine how much planning it takes? Rugs, now they use rugs too, and what do you call those? Snow machines. I've heard snow machines being given away. Last year, one family alone was like giving away like 20 cubic foot freezer sleds, lots of homemade sleds. So it becomes, you know, you have to plan and organize. You have to collaborate. You have to plan together. Like we're planning right now, I said earlier. So we had to pick lots of extra berries. We had to put away our freezers full of extra food. Not only do we plan for this, but we plan for ceremonies of death. We just had a giant potluck for my dad because his birthday. We didn't want to quit celebrating his birthday, so I had enough time to take food out from my freezer the evening of Saturday before I came here. So I cooked all day, morning, Sunday, then ceremony, and then went to the airport to come here. That's how things work for busy people, you know? You can't say, I can't do it. So I had like 5 pots cooking and running to the airport. I was kind of like, okay, I'll get to shower when I get there. But you know, that's the beauty of our culture. They ask you, they want you to be part. They want you to be connected. And you know, it's like Christmas every day. And you guys plan for Christmas, yeah? Say yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what it means, Christmas every weekend. That's a lot of planning.
So your dance movements are beautiful and very graceful. Can you show us some more?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. My grandmother composed this song for me for my first dance. It's called, she used to have a dog sled, and the blizzard came. So her dog team was blown on the ice from one side to the other. And it's called Yuraryaraput as I was traveling out into nature. And bless her heart, this is the song that I remember dancing first on the stage. And I was already a performer as a little girl. I knew all the songs, I knew all the motions. I probably did not know what their meanings were because I was too young. But they always brought me to other villages to dance. So this is called Yuraryaraput, composed by my paternal grandmother. So it goes, Yuraryaraput, Yuraryaraput, and then here's the storm. Yuraryaraput, na klingwing awlup Kuchtaryak lamnich Anuk kain taniwarutanga ya ayahura ingahara and then at the end, she takes her seal skin pants, take one leg and the other leg, yeah, and the whole thing. And then, and then while we're doing that, our grandfathers and grandmothers go, dance harder, and they're screaming. And so as we're dancing, they're re-energizing us. It was never silent. People were always screaming and yelling and laughing. And that's the healthy part of dancing. People are always laughing. They say you don't have time to worry about things. And they say that's why every night they were drumming in the sat house. Every night. Life was harsh. You know, men are freezing out there 8-10 hours a day. Minus 40-degree temperatures out in the ocean. So they want to be happy and warm and laughing when they come home. And that's the best medicine they had. And so that is why it is critical that we have to keep our language and culture alive. We cannot lose that because it's our power. We have to promote and advocate for that across the globe. And we don't want to lose our history. We don't want to lose our songs. We don't want to lose all this strong bonding among people. So, thank you. I'll continue to sing if you want me to. Yeah? Okay. This song is about berry picking. My grandfather made this beautiful song, Mayorlonga, as I'm climbing up the hill. Mayorlonga, ik farel ranga, berry picking. On this slope up there. And so our bodies tell stories, yeah? Mayorlonga, ik farel ranga, Mayorlonga, ik farel ranga, tan khorla tan pagna pagani up there. Pagani katanami pagani and so basically, as I'm climbing up there, picking berries, I'm imagining, I'm hoping to find those berries up there, way up there on the slope, way up there. And so, you know, they're basic messages, but they are common messages about everyday life. I'm walking, I'm seeing, I'm eating, yeah. I'm happy, it's raining and I'm cold. So he's the eldest man now, my paternal grandmother's brother, 80-something, 87. So he's the elder now in our village, the guy that made the song. And kids song, child song, okay, I'll sing you. My grandmother, when she was in the hospital, when she knew that I was teaching dances and songs to young people, she said, you have to teach this song. It's long time ago. It's an old song. And it's about the fire that's rolling across that tundra way out there. And you know what that means in our culture? It's a sacred thing. It's like a spiritual thing if you see a fire rolling across the tundra. And so it's very simple. And I teach this to my college students before. I've taught beginning and advanced classes. I've helped to develop some cultural classes on campus. I've taught in Bethel, I've taught in Fairbanks, and I've taught at APU. Across my short life. I call it a short life because I'm so busy, but it's beautiful kind of busyness. So this is the one that's rolling. ilaji yakakan ukum pichi kachi piwainachchi kachi kuk. And then you pause there. This song, some of our stories have songs in them, short, brief songs. And that's, when I think about it, I think, it's entertaining and it keeps your body moving, and you can teach the children to get up and dance with you. And they can become very imaginative, along with, hey, Biuga, good to see you. My crystal. Okay, she's one of my students. Guyana, nice to see you. And so, when I was a young girl and my grandmother taught me to dance, she said, you want to tell the whole world the stories you're dancing. So I don't want you to learn to dance like that, because they can't tell you what you're doing. You have to move your arms around and exaggerate your hands. And because I had such dynamic instructors, mentors, teachers, grandparents, loving people, we became experts with them, right? And then you learn to move your body around. When you dance, you have to watch your hand with the movement. When you dance, you become that character, like I said earlier. When the wind is blowing, it's really blowing. It's not like blowing right here. It has to blow way, way wide, right? And when we're smiling, we got to really smile. And when we're cold, we got to be very cold. So you're moving your body around, right? And then for the audience to get that message, they can kind of like, I get the energy from you guys. I get the energy from audience. When I see that the response is like they're smiling, or they're getting it, or they like the beat, or they're liking it. So that is how performing is. And the key functional point is it's a form of prayer. It was the only form of prayer before Christianity came, because we're showing our honor and respect for all that we have, for our food, for the messages, for the knowledge and wisdom and compassion. And that's what it's all about. We didn't have television, we didn't have history books. This is what we have, this is who we are, and how we know what we know, and we carry that on. Yesterday somebody asked me, Teresa, how do you explain epistemology? How we know what we know. This is how I know what I know, Yeah. Anyhow, I'm almost out of time. I'd like to thank Sealaska and PETA program for having me here, and especially all of you that are here today. My ancestors are here with us, and they're very happy. They welcome you too. And I'm hoping that you have gained some new knowledge from this brief presentation. Yeah, Guyana. Thank you.